Welcome to video 3 of the UO Infantry Basics series. In this video, we will focus on fundamental movement skills, which will ensure that you move quickly and effectively to your objectives. Movement and moving correctly is a fundamental differentiator between those who are more successful in ARMA and those who are less. While easy to overlook, moving using the right techniques will help ensure that you are never put in an easily compromisable situation, adding to your success on the battlefield. The four major movement fundamentals we're going to focus on here are spacing, muzzle awareness, finding cover instincts, and basic fireteam formations. On the battlefield, there are a multitude of powerful weapons such as machine guns and grenade launchers that are capable of bringing massive amounts of firepower to bear. While I'm sure everyone enjoys being the one to pull the trigger on these systems, it's much less enjoyable to be on the receiving end. These systems have the capability to quickly wipe out targeted areas, and tight groups of soldiers make ideal targets for them, as a single burst can cause massive casualties. Thus, it is imperative that we attempt to minimize the possible damage such a system will do should you or a teammate be spotted. In order to minimize damage, one of the first things we do is ensure that everyone has ample room or spacing between themselves and their nearby teammates. By spreading out, we reduce the amount of people that can be killed or wounded by a single weapon at any time. The distance that you space yourselves out is variable and depends on the environment that you are moving through, as well as the current situation. By default, about 10 meters is ideal, as this will still allow you to hear nearby teammates while moderately diminishing the effectiveness of enemy weapons. Often, spacing will be increased when clear lines of sight are present, and decreased when subjected to adverse viewing conditions, such as forested terrain or nighttime operations. Look for your squad or team leader to adjust spacing as needed during such situations, as he has final control over it. If you are having trouble determining distance in game, you can activate your ShackTac HUD to help out. The inner ring on the ShackTac HUD is 15 meters, so 10 meters means that the icons of your closest teammates are going to be just inside that inner circle, touching the edge. Note that echoing commands will become even more vital the more your team spreads out, as members on the far ends will not be able to hear the team leader. Keeping spacing will help you out on the battlefield, as it will diminish the chances of you being killed by enemies shooting at one of your buddies, and vice versa. Next, we'll discuss muzzle awareness. This simple fundamental is the idea that you need to stay aware of where friendly units are pointing the weapons and avoid crossing in front of them whenever possible. This serves two purposes. The first is straightforward. It prevents you from being killed by your own teammates. If you're never in front of their guns, they can never shoot you. Moreover, many friendly fire incidents occur when one teammate runs in front of another, who is already or preparing to shoot at an enemy. This teammate pulls the trigger and cuts down his buddy running in front of him instead of the enemy who was about to shoot them both. The second builds off this, as generally your teammates will not be inclined to shoot you when given the choice. When you move in front of them, through their lines of fire, they cannot shoot at any enemy forces that appear. As such, your obstruction to their line of fire can doom not only yourself, but the entire team. If you absolutely must cross a teammate's line of fire, communicate with them, so they are prepared, or so that they can hold you back while they engage enemies. Communicate your intent to cross by simply stating, crossing, in the direction that you are doing this, either from left or right.
Rambo crosses to your right.
Copy.
You never know when you're going to be shot at, and as such, it is always a healthy practice to find cover wherever you are, no matter how safe it may seem. Whenever you can, try to make the best of whatever cover is available. Try to move from cover to cover, always having an idea of where the next position is. Remember that when stopped for long periods of time, use the additional time to locate the best cover available, as you are easy to hit otherwise. As a rule of thumb, when stopped, immediately look for cover within about 5 meters of you. If there is some, use it, but if not, get in the lowest stance possible that will still allow you to engage enemy targets or watch your assigned sectors and landmarks. When you are playing, one of the things you will be called upon most often to do is to get into a variety of fire team level formations. These formations are the different ways that your team is aligned off of a point man, who most often is the team leader. The three basic fire team formations that we'll discuss today are a fire team file, fire team line, and fire team wedge. A fire team file is the quickest and easiest formation to create, and is great for movement over long distances and best used when contact is unlikely or moving through dense and channeling terrain. A fire team file is created by members of the team lining up directly behind the point man, essentially playing follow the leader with him. Note that with this formation, as with the other two depicted here, each soldier is assigned a battle buddy, who he should always be next to in these formations. We'll cover battle buddies later in greater detail through another video though. Each soldier has an assigned sector that he watches. This minimizes the likelihood that the enemy is able to get the drop on them. The point man's sector to watch is directly in front of him, with the next trailing member behind him watching off towards the right, and the remaining members alternate between covering left and right, respectively. An easy rule of thumb to follow when you're a trailing member of a fire team column is to watch the opposite direction of the man in front of you. This will ensure that maximum security is always given. Finally, when moving in a column, try to walk right in the steps of the man in front of you, as this will help avoid mines and detection. Next is a fire team line. This is a combat formation used when contact with the enemy is ongoing or imminent. This formation is used to engage the enemy, and is ideal to do so because it provides maximum firepower onto the target area. The downsides to this formation are that it's more difficult to move and control, and provides weak firepower to the flanks of the fire team. To create this formation, all team members simply form up alongside each other, keeping buddy teams together whenever possible. By default, a team member's sector will be straight ahead, though you must watch the flank as needed if you're on the edge. The final formation is a fire team wedge. This is a cross between file and line to be used when the team needs the best 360 security possible while moving. This formation is specifically useful because a fire team can quickly form a line in any direction to engage the enemy as seen here. When creating this formation, a team leader will call heavy right or heavy left. This indicates where the second buddy team will go, with the team leader's buddy forming a small side of a wedge. Since this is a formation that will be used when you're moving through hostile territory but do not know where the enemy forces are, watching sectors properly is absolutely crucial here. Sectors for this formation are as follows. The point man watches the front from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. The short end man watches his side from about 6 to 10 if on the left, or 2 to 6 if on the right. The first heavy man watches the front part of his side from either 8 to 10 o'clock if on the left, or 2 to 4 o'clock if on the right. The second heavy man watches the rear part of his side, either 6 to 9 o'clock if on the left, or 3 to 6 o'clock if on the right. Remember that it can be very difficult to aim your weapon towards your sector. Instead, try using free look by double tapping left alt, or use track IR, as these are both much easier ways to cover your sector. Key takeaways for this video should be the following. Maintain spacing. By default, this should be about 10 meters, or the inner ring of your shack tack HUD. Muzzle awareness.
Contact front.
Avoid crossing friendly lines of fire. If you absolutely have to, alert them with crossing from the left or right. Use cover. Whenever stopped, find cover within 5 meters. If there is none, get as low to the ground as possible. Fire team formations. Line is a formation that is used for combat, where everyone is alongside each other. File, used for quick and easy movements, where everyone is following the team leader. Wedge, a triangle is formed, with one buddy team forming the point and short stub, and a second buddy team forming the heavy side.